Welcome to the assembly video for our perfume bottle gift box. We're going to take a little trip to France today, and this is the first little glimpse of spring for 2021. We can sure use it, especially those of us in the Midwest who are currently in a deep freeze. I know I mentioned Ford actually bought some seeds today, so I guess it's a sign of the times. Anyway, so the base is made up of these two pieces here. We're going to put them together to create one, but before we do, we're going to do a little bit of paper piecing and just get these panels in place. And you'll notice on both of these main structural pieces here that we've got some little markers here on the bottom, and that's to help you with the positioning of these panels. So let's begin with that. Let's get these panels in place. Just going to go very easy with the glue here. And again, there's a set of markers there to help you with the alignment. So just use the little markers to guide you and get those into place. Now, the side piece here also requires a panel. If it's easier for you, you can wait until this is put together for alignment purposes. But what you're going to do is you're actually going to align this and nudge this up to, well, essentially right up to where this one is on the same, the same height, I guess you can call it. So right up there so that it matches up with that one. You are going to have a bit of a border on the left, right, and bottom. So just keep that in mind as you're putting this into place. I'm going to fold that tab just so that you get a better visual. And also, it makes it easier just to kind of see where you need to put it. If you fold that section over, you can kind of use your finger to kind of feel where it needs to be as far as its positioning, okay? So go ahead and get your glue on this panel. And I've got this folded over. You can do this with the whole piece flat if you'd like. It's your call. That might actually be easier right now. And this is the first of 3 projects that I'm going to be doing today, so I'm a little rusty. There we go. Get that in place. And fold that over. Just kind of feel, make sure that it's lined up nicely with that section. There we go. Make sure it's all making good contact. You can tell already that little area there just didn't get enough glue. So I'm just going to use a scrap piece of paper, put a tiny little bit of glue right on the tip there, and just paint a little extra glue right underneath that section that's just not sitting flat. There we go. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to repeat that same process here on this one. So grab your glue. Again, make sure that you are in fact working on the base or the bottom as indicated on the tab with the letter B right here and here. Okay. Same thing for this one. Use the little markers there to help you with that alignment. Okay. And grab your other little panel. Get your glue on there. Okay. And again, it's going to be centered so that there's a little bit of a border, but you want it pretty much touching the score mark there. You don't want to go over or past it. You want it just touching it. Okay, so there you have that. Now we're going to join these 2 pieces together using the tabs with the marked with the letter B. So go ahead and put your glue on the tab. And I'm going to get that glue out to the very edge. There we go. And get that nice and aligned. There we go. Press that down. If you want, you can fold it over onto itself and just kind of run your finger along the edge here. Make sure everything lines up nicely. This should also line up nicely. That's how you know that you got it lined up as accurately as you can. Okay. Now we're going to close it up Make sure that that tab is glued down nicely. I'm going to close it up by putting glue on this tab here. And spread that glue out to the edge of the tab there. And you can actually do this flat. Put that down flat, bring this over. Should match up and line up perfectly. Press that down and give it a second. And then you can fold it over onto itself. It should fold flat. And again, it should be nice and straight there. There we go. Okay. So there we have that. And now we're going to kind of make this dimensional. And we're going to do that. I'm going to pull these out of the way so I can have better access. My chair is very squeaky today. Sorry about that. Okay, so at this point what we can do is put glue on these tabs here and get one of these sides glued into place. Get your glue out to the very edge of those tabs there. Just like that. And just bring that over. If you have any excess glue, just wipe it off. Line that up there, and then head on over to the other side here and get that lined up. Press that into place. There we go. And the same thing on the other side. Get your glue on the tab. Spread that glue out. You can dab it, you can wipe it, whatever works for you. Now, if you are using a darker cardstock, be careful of any glue that may squeeze out, as despite what they say, well, I guess it's quick drying it. I guess this glue doesn't really advertise that. It's clear. It is, but it can leave a little bit of a glossy sheen, so be careful with that. And just press those tabs into place. There we go. Just hold that while it sets. All right. Okay, so all that's left to do here is to close up the bottom, and we already have the piece necessary for that attached, so we just need to flip it over and close her up. Let's get our glue on these three tabs. I'm going to start on the inside, get my glue on there, and then do a nice little fine line along the edge that I can spread out. Okay, and you can if you tuck that in, as you spread it, you won't get it onto this surface as I get it onto that surface. It does help though. It's a bit of an awkward shape, and that's okay though. We'll do our best here. Okay, so now, if you want, you can flare these up a little bit so that as you bring this down, it grabs more of that surface area, and then line it up with the side opposite of the side that's already connected. Okay, and then if you need to, give these a little bit of a nudge. Now's the time. Okay, just press and hold that down for a second. Let it grab a hold. And then once it's grabbed a hold, flip it over, and then push down from the inside to get the rest of those tabs to make better contact with the bottom. Okay, and there we have it. Okay, so there's our base. Now we have this additional piece here, which is what we call a liner, and that is to cover up the tabs and also make this a little bit more structurally sound. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of glue in that bottom square there inside, and then take this and just pop it in and press that down into place. Okay, so there is the base. And now take a look at your bottom and make sure that everything's making good contact. I've got a little area here that isn't. So I'm gonna take my scrap piece of paper, throw a little bit of glue on it, just right on the corner, and literally just tuck it in between those two layers that are not touching. Paint a little bit of glue in there, and then just press that down and hold it for a few extra seconds. Just make sure that that dries and those two sides are touching and look nice and seamless. Okay. All right, so there is the container or the base. Now we'll head on over to the main structure here. And actually we've got a few things we can do to prepare for that. We've got our little caption. This is optional. It's a print and cut element. It essentially in French says perfume of spring, parfum de printemps. Printemps. I never took French. I don't know. There's something beautiful about it, but there's, you know, it's obviously something you really have to study and learn to get the accent and everything down. I'm very far removed from that, so I'm not going to pretend to even try. But it sounds very pretty. Okay, so that's going to go on, in my case, the gold foil piece here. Parfum de printemps. And actually, when you hear them really say it, it sounds like they're not even saying half the letters in the word. So anyway, all right, so that's that. We've got this piece here. This is our little finial. And on the finial, we're gonna put just some, well, we've got some gold foil. It's gonna go on that. So we may as well just get that in place. It'll be easier to do it now since it's flat. So get your glue, put a little bit of glue on each of these little triangles, and we are going to maintain a nice even border on this. So just make sure you try to accomplish that as you're putting this in place. Okay, there we go. Press that down. Make sure you don't have any glue on your fingers if you are using gold foil, as that tends to leave an unsightly blemish that is near impossible to remove. Okay, so let me get the next one in place here. Again, try to maintain a nice even border all the way around. And you just want to repeat that 2 more times until you have all 4 in place. Now, I've never been to France, and I don't think now is a good time to go because of all the stuff going on in the world. But I used to live pretty close to France, closer than I live now, as I was actually born in Poland. Came here when I was like 2 or 3 years old. Have I ever? Hey Siri, where are the Alps?
The Alps are the highest and most extensive mountain range system that lies entirely in Europe and stretch approximately 1,200 kilometers across 8 alpine countries: France, Switzerland, Monaco, Italy, Liechtenstein, Austria, Germany, and Slovenia.
Well, there you go.
From Wikipedia. Shall I continue?
No, thank you. Maybe I've been to France, because I do remember hiking the Alps with my mom when I was a tiny, tiny, tiny boy. I think I was like maybe 4 years old. Not sure if it was in France though, as you heard from our friend Siri. The Alps stretch across many different countries. Okay, so we've got that in place. Okay, let's get our top together here. So obviously the bottom, the base, had a little B on it. This has nothing on the tabs. Okay, so that's how you know it's the top. And we're gonna get our panels in place first. These two are exactly the same, so you don't need to worry about figuring out what's what. can just get our glue, put it on, and get these into place. Okay, get these guys into place. And then there's a few more panels that, well, when you put this on, you'll notice that there are some indicators or some markers there, so use those. You will have a nice even border going around this panel here. So make sure you get that nice and centered. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing with this one here. Okay, we're gonna get the other panel in place here. Just be sure to work that glue out to the perimeter. You don't have to get it on every single inch, but do your best. Okay, and again, we have some little markers here to help you with the alignment so that you can get that nice, perfect border consistently. There we go. Okay. Now, again, there are some panels that are going to go on these sides here, but I don't want to put these on right now because if we do it flat and then fold it later, it may come undone. We're going to put these panels on after this is actually dimensional, okay? And I think that's going to go for this top one as well. We're going to hold off on that. So just like we did with the base, we're going to put these two pieces together using these tabs here. So you can place your glue on the tab and just make sure you get a little bit out to the very perimeter here so that it glues down nice and seamless for us. Okay, and pop that right on. And as you're placing this down, if this is your first time working on a 3D project like this, you want to line it up and butt it up to that score mark as close as you can without going over. And then you can fold it over onto itself. You can kind of feel here if it's nice and aligned, and it is. Press that down. Okay, there we go. And we'll close it up using this tab. There we go. And again, you can do this flat. So just pop that down, grab the other end, and push that right into place. Should pretty much fall right into where it needs to be. And if you have a little bit of glue that's shot out, just wipe it off with your finger, your fingernail, whatever it may be. Press that down. I'm going to fold it over onto itself, onto that seam, and press down again. And there we go. Okay, so now, again, I'm going to move some of these pieces out of the way to make life easier for me here. Fold that back, and just like we did with the base, we're going to begin by putting glue on these little trapezoid shaped tabs here. And we'll do the other side as well. Just be easier that way. And then just kind of dab that glue or spread it right out to the very edge. Wipe off any excess. And then bring that over. Get that nice and aligned. Give that a couple of presses. Same with this side. Just like that. There we go. Just hold that, make sure it's making good contact. There we go. Okay, and we're just going to repeat that for these tabs here. And close up that other side before we put the lid on it. There we go, spread that glue out. And again, that just helps you get and achieve a nice polished look. Everything looks nice and seamless, almost as if it was like 3D printed or something. Okay, so take this and fold it over, align it with those tabs, and press that into place. Go Go over to the other side, same thing. Just kind of work your finger up and down the tab and squeeze these two sections together. And there we go. Wonderful. Okay, and again, we're going to close this up. Actually going to give this a few seconds here to really set, because we might be kind of shaking this thing around a little bit. I'm going to put this off to the side for a sec and let that really set. This is just a little box. We're going to put this together. I've already pre-folded everything at the score marks here. We're going to put some glue on this little triangle here and make it all one continuous piece. So take your glue and kind of spread it out to the edges as we've been doing, and grab the other end, connect it. You can actually do this flat as well. I just flattened it out. Still have it going to the same side. I just, instead of holding it like this and getting my finger in there, I simply just flattened it out, and that way I can just press on it and apply way more pressure, which will actually help it set a lot faster. Okay, so there we have that. It's just a little box, like I said. Now we're going to close the top, but we're going to leave the bottom open because we're going to use these tabs to anchor this to the other part of our little bottle here. Okay, so all we need to do at this point is get our glue on these tabs here. And you don't have to go overboard here, just a little bit will go a long way. And it's especially important that we do get some glue right out to the very edge. And just spread that glue out right up to the very, very edge there. Okay, and we can flare these up, bring this little lid down and align it with this side here, opposite of the side that it's anchored to already. And the rest of it should kind of fall into place. If you're seeing a little bit of glue still sticking out, that just means that you need to nudge the wall in a little bit, or that side in, just a tiny little bit. Okay, now once everything's in place, you can flip it over, move these out of the way, and just push down from the inside to help the rest of the tabs make better contact with that little top that we just glued into place. Okay, take a look at your end result here. Make sure that everything's making good contact all the way around. Mine looks good. Okay, so that's fine. Let's go back to this guy here. I'm going to say that it's pretty safe to say that our glue is set here. So we're going to put glue on all three of these tabs here. We're going to close the top of this section. Get your glue on the tab, and then again we're going to do a nice little line right along the edge. It's a little awkward. Not horrible though. Just take your time. Okay. If you push it in and you spread that glue out, it won't make contact with these surfaces here. It'll kind of stay in its own little world there. Okay, just spread that glue out to the perimeter. And I can already tell it's starting to get really tacky, which means it's setting, and time is of the essence here. Now we can flare them up a little bit. Bring this down, line up this side with this side here. It's your primary goal. And then the rest of it should fall into place. If you need to give these walls a little bit of a nudge, now's the time. Just give them a little nudge if they need it. And then you can flip it over and push on those tabs from the inside to really get them to get a nice hold. Okay, there we go. This little wall needs a little bit of a nudge in. Okay, and you can see how, as I mentioned, with the darker cardstocks, the glue is way more visible. So if you do have some excess sticking out, just kind of rub it off. It'll dry mostly clear, and that's fine. Okay. So just keep holding any areas that look like maybe they're not making the best contact. Luckily, there's a little hole here. You can stick your finger in there and just kind of pinch any little area that might need that little extra love. Okay. There we go. Looks good. Okay, so a couple more panels to put on now. As I mentioned, we're going to do this now that this is nice and dimensional. And the best way to do this, I think, is to start off on just one segment. You'll notice that there's a score mark here. Let's start on the smaller side, smaller section. Get our glue on that. Okay. And we're going to use that little fold, that little score mark, to kind of help us figure out where it's going. Make sure that you have a nice even border on both sides there, and just press that down into place. Okay, just hold that. You can run your finger along the entire surface here. And if it helps, you can actually put it down on that surface and press down from the inside as well. A lot of different ways to do it. Now we can peel this back, and it just makes it a lot easier to get this section in place now. Just get your glue on this section, and literally it'll just kind of fall into place now. There we go. Okay. Now another thing too is you can put that on your surface and press down from the inside. Just makes life a lot easier. Okay, there we go. That looks great. We're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. You get your glue, start with the smaller section. And using the little fold there, you can kind of pop that right onto the fold, hold it there, and then make sure you've got an even border on the left and the right, and then just press that down into place. And there we go. I'm going to put that down on my surface so I can push from the inside. If you're not comfortable doing that, that's okay. Whatever feels right, just go with it. Okay, there we go. We can fold this back now. Apply our glue to the larger section. And just pop that right into place. Don't even have to worry about the alignment. It's already aligned from the previous section. There we go. Just kind of taking my finger, focusing on the outer edges here, the perimeter, because once that sticks, the rest of it's not really going anywhere. And you can work the inside and give that a quick little press, get that nice and flat. Okay, so there we have it. Wonderful. Now at this point, we can put this piece on. And all we need to do here is just make sure that we're aligning this with the cutout that already exists there. Okay, so just get your glue on the bottom here. Like so. Try to make sure you kind of hit the inner perimeter there. Inner perimeter, that's kind of an oxymoron. Just the inside around that cutout. And again, line that up with the cutout on the main structure and press that down into place. You should naturally have the same border that you have here on these panels as well. If it's off a tad, don't worry about it. It's still going to look great. Typically when you make these and gift them, nobody's really looking at all of the little details that you are as you're putting this together. They're not going to notice that. They're just going to notice that, hey, this is a perfume bottle made out of paper, and my friend made it. Wow. So there you have it. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this little box that we created. We're going to take these tabs and kind of put them through the little hole that's there. And you'll see the tabs in there. We're going to put glue on each of the tabs and push them over and glue them to the underside of our actual structure here. So you can see that little bit of glue I just put there. And I kind of like to do it this way just so I can illustrate this better. I'm going to take my tab and just push it over up against the inside here, but I'm going to do it this way. So so I can see and make sure that this is nice and lined up here while I press that in place. I'll show you the end result here in just a second. Just want to make sure that I get it done right, because this one's going on the website. Okay, another thing I want to mention while I'm doing this is it wasn't always this way, but there was a point in time where I decided that, well, you know what, instead of making 2 of these, because I used to make the one that was on the website off camera, but to save time, I was like, well, let me just try actually making the one that's going on the website as part of the assembly. So what you see here is the actual item that we photograph, that I photograph for the website. And this is my first time making it. So if this is my first time, I know that you can do it too. Okay, so you can see there the tab, or can you? Let me do a little flashlight for you. Okay, there's that tab there, right there. Okay, it's kind of hard to see because it's almost black on black, but you can see the other tabs are still not glued down. There's that one, there's that one, and there's that one, but we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna flip them in. We're gonna put glue on this side and then just flip it over onto the inner surface, or on the surface of the inside of the main container there. Okay, so there's our little bit of glue, and I'm gonna take this and flip it over this way, right onto the inside of the structure. Okay, and I put glue on the tab opposite of the tab that I glued first. So you're going from one side to the other. We're not going clockwise or counterclockwise. We're zigzagging a little bit. Okay, so that's that. And that just leaves 2 more tabs here, and I'm going to put glue on both of them so you can see. Okay, so there's glue on that tab, and again, that's just going to push out up on the inside, and this one's going to push up on that side. And this is already pretty much in place as far as alignment because of those first 2 tabs that we already glued into place, so don't need to do anything special with that. All right, and there we go. So that's that. We can actually pop this on top of our base, kind of get an idea of what things are going to start looking like here. And it's looking pretty sharp so far. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our little finial together. And there are some tabs here at the bottom. We're not doing anything with those. These are going to be anchored into this little box. But we can form our finial by putting glue on these little triangular tabs. So we'll start here, go easy on the glue here, and do a little line out to the edge, kind of bring that out, and then take the neighboring triangle and tuck that tab right behind it, line it up nicely, and just press that into place. Make sure if you're using foil, like I am, that you don't have any glue on this thumb so that you don't blemish your foil. Okay, just like that. And we can move that out of the way. Okay, moving on to our next little triangular tab here. Same thing. Just apply your glue to the majority of the surface there, and then get that glue and spread it out to the very perimeter. And then bring over the next section, line it up, and just press that into place. Okay. There we go. All right. Same thing, moving on. Get your glue on the next tab. And spread that glue out. You can either spread it or just kind of dab it like I am. And get that connected. Like that. And now we just need to close it up. Okay, now finally, we've got these 2 tabs are going to need to be glued down kind of simultaneously here. So get your glue on the larger triangular tab and then throw a little bit on the smaller one. Get that, push that glue out. to the very edge there, right up to the edge of the tab, and then tuck that in. Start at the top there. Get that lined up just like we did the last 3 times. And then you can pull these out of the way. And where is it? There it is. There's that little triangular tab for the small section here. This slanted section that's going in. Make sure that that's getting a good hold too. And there's our beautiful finial. And that is ready to go. There you have it. Okay. Why are you sitting all weird? There we go. Okay, so now ideally, we're going to actually glue this in first before we construct the box here. So take these tabs and pop them in to this container, or this small little flat box. And we're going to glue the tabs to the inside of this little box here, which we've not yet formed, so that it's like that. Okay. So I'm going to start with just one tab. This is the exact same thing that we just did with that larger box that we made and anchored to the main part of the bottle. Okay, so we've got our glue there. I'm going to take that tab and just push it over to the inside of this section here. Press that down. Should go really quick. It's not a lot of glue, small surface area. We'll go to the opposite side here, throw a little bit of glue on that, fold it over right against the inside of this section. And then just 2 more tabs here. Just a little dot of glue. Don't need to cake it with glue here. A little bit will go a long way. And then fold it over. And then take this one, fold it over. And now it's nice and solid and part of this piece. And we can go ahead and now close this piece up. And we're going to do that by putting glue on these little tabs here. I'm going to start off with this one. Doesn't really matter which one you start with. I'm going to go with that one. And that little triangular tab is going to go right behind the neighboring wall here. And just press and hold that in place. Okay. And we'll just move along to the next one. Throw a little bit of glue right there on that triangular tab. I'm really going to move that out of the way. Bring this down. And I've just got my middle finger back there pushing up against my thumb to create that little pressure that we need to kind of bind these two together. Okay, very simple so far. Now it might help to get these tabs out of the way. And we've got 2 more little triangles here that we just need to glue into place. I'm going to actually put glue on both of them. Okay, we'll just slide that right in. And get that aligned and press and hold on one side. And do the same thing on the other side. Just make sure your alignment is as accurate as you can get it. And there we go. Okay, so the dimensional aspect of this is together now. And all we need to do is close this up. Now you see why we put that little finial in place first, because otherwise it'd be pretty impossible to do it with this box already put together and closed up. Okay, so we'll throw a little bit of glue on all 3 of these tabs. And I'm going to spread that glue out to the very edges. Okay, and flare them up, bring this down, get this side aligned with this side. Make sure to get that nice and centered. And again, if you can see that these walls need to be pushed in a little bit, now's the time to do that. Just give it a little bit of a nudge, and then just kind of press your finger along the perimeter, right along the very edge, to get those 2 sections to adhere nicely. Okay, so there it is. And now all we need to do, you'll see that on the bottom of this, you have some little markers, and that is to help you position this on top of this guy here. Okay, So rather than putting glue here though, I would suggest putting glue on the top of this and just covering it completely, because every single inch of this top is going to make contact with the underside of our little finial piece. Okay, so just like that. And that's going to be my front since it's the best looking, and I'm going to decide which side is the front. This is going to be the front of mine. Just pop that right into place and kind of do an overhead look, a side look. Make sure it's nice and centered. Mine looks good. And voila. Okay, so that's that. And all we have left is, well, we've got our little caption. It's going to go right here. Now, this is the front of mine. On one of these panels, this section, one of these two, there's going to be a series of little markers there, and that's to help you with the positioning of this guy. So I'm going to grab my little foam circles. Foam squares are fine too, whatever you want to use. And I'm just going to add maybe 3 of them. I think 3 will do. I don't think I need any more than 3. So I'll put 2 down here, and then we'll do 1 kind of towards the top in the center, right there. Oops. Okay. And look for the little markers there to help you with the positioning of this. It's going to go right there. And just press that down. There you go. Now all that's left is to put together some little flowers, and we're pretty much done. So we do have these little leaves here. You'll notice that on these leaves are some score marks, and that's just to help you with the training and the pinching. All you're doing, I'm just kind of pushing down with the finger, and I've got these 2 fingers under it. I push down, and then I bring my fingers out and I pinch the tip. Okay, just like that. And that's all you're really doing to that. And I'm going to put a little flower together. It's going to go pretty quick. Okay, now you'll notice that the flowers kind of came in 2 colors, 2 different shades. I'm putting the darker version below the lighter color. So the darker color below the lighter color. Now these I've inked a lot of things on this project. So the variation is very minimal as far as the colors go. I don't think you'd even notice, honestly, if I didn't do it with the darker piece underneath. But either way, if you have 2 significantly different colors that you're using, I'd put the darker one underneath. So what I was doing there was training the petals, and basically what that is taking, and I'm kind of pinching or placing the petal between my finger and the dowel, and just kind of curling it backwards away from you, okay? And that's just kind of giving it a little bit of dimension. You can see how, can you see it? See how that is flat, and then that one's kind of curved. There you go, you can see that there. And that's just to add a little bit of interest to this so it's not so flat. Bring it to life a little bit, okay? And there we go. Just go all the way around and do all the petals. And then you can take these and fold them in. Okay. Now if you want to, you can actually make this a little more pronounced by folding it even more. And I just switched over to a thinner diameter dowel. The thinner the diameter is, the more curl you're going to get. And the more action you're going to see there with the training. Now see, I can't really tell which one of these. This was the darker one here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of glue right in the center of this flower. We're going to take the other piece and pop it right on top, and you want to offset these so that the petals are not sitting right on top of each other. You want to be able to see the other flower behind it ever so slightly. Okay, and then we can kind of pull these back to create a little bit more separation between the 2 layers. This is a very easy flower. Okay, and then we have a little stamen piece here, and all you need to do is just kind of curl these pieces up a little bit. Okay, so I'm just taking the stamen and pinching it between my finger and the dowel and just kind of curling it towards me as I'm pushing the dowel away from me. Okay, so I'm curling in, pushing out, curling in, pushing out. And then if you want, you can kind of twirl it between your fingers to really raise them up. And we'll finish it off with a little pearl inside or whatever you want to put in there. If you got a rhinestone or some special bling, whatever it may be. We'll throw a little bit of glue right in the center and pop that right in there. Just like that. Okay, so there's our flower. And now this guy, see if there is in fact a marker here. And that marker is, where is that going? Yeah, that goes there. Okay, so you see that there's a little nub here. Just throw a little bit of glue just around that little circle there, right there. And you'll see kind of like two V-shaped markers there. Those V-shapes correspond to the little valleys here on either side of the little circle there. So you want to align those two little V's with the two little V's, or those little valleys, on either side of the circle. And that's where that needs to go. So just pop that into place and give that a second to set. You can see it's kind of wobbling around, which means it's not completely dry yet. And whoops, what is going on, glue? You don't want to play nice today, eh? I'll throw a little extra glue on there. So I'll wait till that dries completely. And we do have two more smaller flowers to put together. They are exactly the same thing as that one. So I'll just show you how one of them goes together here. Now, this is obviously a lot smaller. So I'm going to use a smaller dowel to train the tips of these. And because it is smaller, it's going to be more delicate. You want to be careful so that you don't rip the petal off of the flower here. Just give it a little bit of dimension by training it. Okay, and then you can kind of push the flower together a little bit like that. And we'll do the same thing with the other piece. You can start off by kind of folding them in if you want. It doesn't really matter. We're going to end up with the same result either way. Now, if you want, you can find something with an even smaller diameter. I don't even know what this is. It's some kind of weird piece of metal that I found, but I'm just kind of using that instead of the thicker dowel to get these little petals even more pronounced. Because the smaller diameter allows me to kind of curl it and wrap it around this. Here we go. Okay. And just like we did with the larger flower, we're going to put a little bit of glue right on the inside here in the center. Take the other layer, pop it right in there. Just make sure you offset the petals so that they're not right on top of each other. So like this petal here is going to go in between these two. That's what I mean by offset. Okay. And boy, that's small. It might be helpful to use some tweezers if you need to help you with the placement. Whoops. Okay, and then you can just use a little dowel to press in the center. And don't worry too much if it flattened out. We can always kind of poof it up after everything is nice and dry. And again, we do have a little stamen piece. Now this I'm not even going to try to curl. I'm just going to kind of run it between my fingers to lift them up and make them a little more dimensional. And then as you raise them up, it's a lot easier to kind of twist them around in your fingers. And there we go. throw a little glue right in the center and pop that right in place. You can use your dowel. Take a look and make sure that, there we go. That's cute. Okay. So anyway, this should be dry now. We're going to put a little bit of glue right on this little circle here. And that's where we're going to put the center of our flower. I'm going to glue that right there. Okay. And I'm going to let that sit flat for a moment. Make sure it's centered. Take a look at it from a straight on perspective. That looks great. And then the two little flowers, one that we've already constructed is going to go here. And the other one that you're going to put together is going to go here on the other side. And that concludes the assembly for our perfume bottle gift box. It's good size, great for an actual bottle of perfume, a watch, necklace, bracelet, whatever it may be. But anyway, mine came out great. I hope yours does too. If it does, I would love to see it, and so would the rest of our dreamers. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, or you can type in this little URL here at the bottom of your screen. It'll take you right there. And if you enjoyed hanging out with me, head over to our YouTube channel and consider hitting that subscribe button. And while you're there, hit the little bell so that you get notifications anytime we release a new product, whether it be free or paid. Anyway, I had fun. I hope you did too, and I look forward to crafting with you again.